important question that is happening now currently, and that is how can we react as Muslims to something like coronavirus as Muslims?
Okay, so coronavirus isn't something new, by the way. Okay, I sent a few pictures today.
Okay.
On the back of certain cleaning products.
I see.
And they were saying, look, how comes coronavirus is written on the back of this particular product? They knew it was happening and it's a conspiracy and whatnot. And really, people losing their heads over the situation. Okay, so coronavirus is something which is well known in the medical field. In fact, I was listening to this on the way here to a particular podcast. And they were a consultant in a microbiologist, but they reached and his brother I know, he's a very, very good brother, and he was talking about this particular issue.
Okay.
And there are different strands of coronavirus. There are certain strands of this coronavirus which may not impact people in a negative way. You might just get a cold or a cough or something like a sore throat, and then you recover from that.
I see.
But then there are certain strands of this coronavirus which are a little more kind of let's say dangerous. They will impact an individual maybe a little more than others.
I see.
But then there are so many other factors to be taken into consideration. For example, that person, you and I might react differently from this Wuhan kind of strain of the coronavirus, whereas you may have a good, strong immune system.
Yeah, everybody's different.
Everybody's different, so we may react differently to that. So many factors to take into consideration. Now, in the media, there's an element of hysteria as to how this is going to impact people, because people, you hear of people being quarantined and sectioned off, and if that happens, what is going on? Because they've been watching films, they've been watching programs, and they, this kind of apocalyptic kind of ending to the world and so on, and they really lose their minds.
And a lot of commentators are equating it through Hollywood films and movies that they've seen, and they're using that as an example that this is what exactly looks or going to happen.
Sure, but if I can draw two things, this is the danger, okay, or one of the risks of a person who is immersed in this false world of films, and then start understanding reality through films, and becomes hysterical over a situation which there's no need for you to become like this. Okay, even questions like, should I refrain from shaking hands? I know shaking hands in Islam is sunnah, but I don't know where that person's come from or where they're going, where they've traveled last week. I should refrain from shaking hands. This is completely off the chart in terms of hysteria. Okay, there, alhamdulillah, the authorities are taking the appropriate kind of steps to ensure that this particular virus is quashed as soon as possible, bi-idhnillah ta'ala. And we ask Allah Jalla wa'ala, first and foremost, Huwa Shafi, is the one who cures, that we take the necessary steps that are given to us, and no need for us to overreact.
In medically necessary steps, you mean?
No, I mean interacting with one another. In terms of medical, whatever medical advice is given to us by the professionals, this is the kind of advice we need to kind of adhere ourselves to and listen to, and not to understand things through films and series and it's the end of the world and so on and so forth. Okay. No.
And some of the Muslims, just not getting into too much detail, but just an overall understanding, they make a lot of assumptions and they equate it to punishments, etc., because of certain individuals, certain communities, certain society have done such and such things.
Sure.
Can we equate that to a punishment, when the other question from the flip side could be that how can then Allah punish innocent people for activities that are done by certain other individual? How would you respond?
Yeah, so on this, is a very good question, okay. And we can say we don't know, Allahu A'lam, okay. But it might be the case that the person who was viewing this situation, who was at home eating their popcorn, okay, and viewing the desperate state of certain Muslims, wasn't doing anything about it.
Okay.
Like, wasn't making no dua, was just flicking on their particular feeds on their social media, wasn't doing very much, and then something afflicts the people, okay, and there's, oh subhanallah, look at the power of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
That's correct.
And where were you in the first place about this whole situation? If you wanted to make a change, a positive change in the situation, then don't be one of those people, okay, who just use situations and understand them how you want to understand them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not oppress innocent people. There may be innocent people who being, well, relatively, I can say innocent, who have no part of what we're talking about.
Correct.
But then the person is happy for them to be caught up in this situation. As Muslims, we shouldn't be happy for any punishment to come to anybody. We ask Allah Azza wa Jal to protect us. If it afflicts a people, then this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has decreed for that matter. And we ask Allah Azza wa Jal to protect us from that.
And we never know, there may be a khair in that.
Exactly, because we don't know the reality of what the situation is. But if we see something, no doubt Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will send signs to put fear in us, to be aware of, not to take things for granted, okay, and not to be heedless of the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And no doubt there may be situations where Allah Jalla wa Ala takes people to account immediately, and there may be other people who are taken to account much later on.
Fair.
But we should take care of ourselves, and that what we have interests in, and what we can take care of ourselves. Wallahu a'lam.